Hello, welcome to another Q&A with me. I have had so many questions, and I think Daryl from Campervan Tales has made it his personal mission to send me a billion questions. So I'm going to get through some of these other questions from you guys, but I'm going to do several of these videos, and like I've said in my previous one, just spread them out as time goes by. So let's start with Imo. Can I name 3 things that I'm currently most excited about or looking forward to? I am looking forward to going away this weekend. I'm going out in my van to Damon's Field, and I'm meeting up with a whole bunch of people, Damon, Alex, Rick, and some new people who I've not met before. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to doing more of these house sits because I'm really enjoying the difference it brings. I can't really explain it. I enjoy the different pace of life that it brings. It slows me down a little bit because I'm technically being paid to be somewhere, which means I'm not filling up all of my time, you know, trying to fit in other jobs and what have you. Like babysitting jobs, and I'm not running around quite. I am running around, but it's I don't know. I'm kind of meeting myself going backwards here, aren't I? I'm not doing something, but I am doing something. It's a different sort of running around. So there is running around because I'm not based here, so I've got to come to work from wherever it is I am house sitting. But the evenings are a lot more relaxed and chilled. This is the only way I can kind of describe it. And the third thing I'm looking forward to, the rain stopping. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to be excited about, but I'm so done with the rain and the hail and the cold and the wind that we keep getting. We had a really nice day over the weekend, and then it was grotty again. So those are my 3 things. Joshua Jeffrey, what did you do before you became a childminder? Before I was a childminder, I was a nanny. And I touched on that in my previous Q&A as to why I didn't stay being a nanny. And I will put a link in the description below if you want to go back to that Q&A and hear the previous questions about that. But yes, I was a nanny. I trained to be a nanny. How many animals do Emma and Rob have? Well, we've got 6 sheep. We've got 3 goats because of Farrell. They've got 5 dogs of their own. They haven't got any chickens or anything left. The fox got them. 2 axolotls, a snail, lots of woodlice, a millipede, millipede, one of those, parrot, 2 cats. Don't think I've forgotten anything. The peacocks, kind of 3 peacocks, but they've all moved out. They're living in the housing estate, causing all sorts of merry hell. Yeah, I think that's everything. Julie Pearson, if you could get another animal, what would it be? This is where Lee would say categorically, no more animals. And I guess if I could have any animal, money and space and rules being no object, I'd probably want a monkey. I always said I'd have a monkey. I'd work at a zoo. That's one of the other jobs I said I'd do. I'd work at a zoo and I'd be in the monkey enclosures, and any monkeys that needed hand rearing, I would, you know, do. So monkeys and apes. But I know that that's not good for the monkeys or the apes. But yes, that's what I would like. If, you know, rules and all the rest of it were no issues, I would like a monkey. Thrifty Grandma, is this yours and Lee's first home together? No, we rented a house from the November before I gave birth to Brendan. So that was November, December, January, February. So that was 4 months prior to Brendan coming along. And then we moved out a month after his 2nd birthday. So we rented a place in Tame. And then we bought this place. So she says that she really likes my back garden and she likes all the flowers and she finds it very cute and aesthetically pleasing and finds it has a very peaceful feeling, which is fantastic to hear. So thank you very much for that, Sandy, because That's the kind of vibe I want to get. I want it to be a chill out, happy, content place. And she said, did you design the backyard as it is, or was it like this when we moved in? And we didn't have the conservatory, so that was all patio out there. And then you stepped up onto a straight path that went all the way to the back of the garden and out the gate. And on either side was a lawn on both sides of that path. There were some bushes in one corner of the lawn on that side. There were a whole bunch of rose bushes and lavender up against the shed, and there was a self-built quite big shed where the current shed is. And yeah, it was very bland, and yeah, just your standard kind of blank canvas. And we built the patio because the grass kept flooding and we had a dog, and sorry about that. Camera suddenly died on me because I had reached my maximum storage. So I've just had to delete a bunch of things that I had forgotten to delete. So where was I? The garden. Yeah, so when the dog had a wee on this sort of waterlogged garden, it would just sit on the surface, and then he'd come in and he'd traipse muddy wee water around the house, and it was pretty disgusting. So we built the patio when Kenzie was a baby. My parents, my sisters and myself were out there with rubble and what have you, and laid the patio. And we put sleeper beds in, so like railway sleeper edges and bedding. Let's just drop that down a little, like that. And planted up some plants and put in a few bits of greenery. I then turned to the bit that is where the pond and everything is. That was a veg bed for a period of time, and I had lawn still on that side of the garden where the geese are, and it was patio slabs up all the way up on top of, sort of going out where we stepped up. It went out into the driveway. That was all paving slabs as well. There was already the conifer, the huge conifer, that was already there, but it was very small, and we kept making it round and topping it off and what have you. It's got a bit wild now, so that's not happening, but the roots then started pushing all the paving slabs up. So that's when the wooden sleepers were disintegrating. So we flattened all of that out onto a bit of a slope and put fake grass down, and we got rid of the lawn as well and put fake grass down there because that bit of lawn was disgusting and horrible and not very good as well. I did used to have chickens in where the geese are, but it was a smaller kind of pen. It was sort of half the size of what it is now. And we also had a rabbit run out there at one point as well. So it's just evolved. And then I built that little pond, the smaller version, not the bigger one that we've got now. I only made it bigger because of the geese, but we had a smaller one that was for wildlife. And I just made that area really sort of wild and sort of wild seeds and stuff, which the geese did kind of destroy as soon as they got out there, because that's what geese do. So you'll have noticed I've penned off a little bit of that, where I'm putting all grass and wildflower seeds down and everything. And when that's done its thing and it's got tall and overgrown, then I will remove that netting and the geese can go in there and enjoy it. So yeah, no, the garden wasn't at all like that. I have slowly put things in as time has gone by and changed it many times. I can't tell how long this video is now because I had to restart it. Okay, Claire Butler 1516. How long have I had my camper van and what made me buy it? So I've had my camper van since the year before COVID. So it was 2019, I believe. And I was watching a lot of camper van channels. Is where I met Daryl and Keith, and I did a camp that they organised. I slept in my Zafira and it was hell. It was freezing cold, it was uncomfortable, and it was not a pleasant experience. And it's when I decided then that I really wanted a camper van, because I wanted that freedom and I wanted to do those things now that my boys were a bit older, but I couldn't do it in my car. So that's what made me buy Spog. Paul Campbell, what made you get the geese? Okay, so that was a complete accident, because I wouldn't choose to have geese because I don't think my garden's particularly big enough for geese. Don't have any grass, don't have a big pond, you know, many reasons. when I was working at the farm last year, one of the geese or two of the geese attacked one of the chickens in the pen and nearly killed it. So I decided that enough was enough because the geese were being a little bit annoying. And I moved all three geese into a separate part of that big Peckingham Palace that we built and penned it all off, separated it all. And then after that, after I disturbed everything and removed everything, I started pulling some of the straw and stuff out from underneath when I was cleaning out the chickens and realised they'd made a nest underneath the chicken coop. Well, that nest couldn't stay there because that's where the chickens were nesting and they were just attacking any chicken that walked past. So that was not going to be okay. So I moved the whole nest back into the bit where they had, I had moved them and had got them penned off, but I knew that I'd messed with the eggs by that point and I disturbed them too much and that they were just going to let them go. And I watched and they didn't go back to the nest at all. So I ended up taking them home and putting them in the airing cupboard and ordering an incubator with the view that I would incubate them and then give them back to the farm. But between that happening and them hatching, between that happening and them ending up in my garden, Rob asked Emma to rehome the three geese because they were keeping him up at night by making lots of honking, squawking sounds every time, like a fox or something, because they're guard geese. So a rat or a fox or anything would trigger them off and they would create merry hell and wake him up in the middle of the night and he wasn't getting any sleep. So they rehomed the three geese and then it was like, I've got nowhere to take the geese. And then the idea was we would take them down to the stables and we would make an area down there for them. But we don't have an area down there for them. We haven't got a penned aviary area down there for them. And Marjorie has such bad sight problems that she wouldn't cope. She wouldn't survive foxes or anything like that. You know, they would get eaten pretty much straight away. Marjorie in particular just wouldn't cope. And so they're here. And I don't know how long they'll stay here. I would have to find the absolute perfect right home for them because this was never a long-term plan. At the moment, they're here and I'm fine with them. And, you know, hopefully the neighbours aren't too bothered by them. But I do know they get noisy and I am concerned about how it will bother the neighbours. And I would like to see them running in a green field at some point. So maybe in time I will find the right place for them where they can have all of that and be looked after to the standard that I require them to be looked after. And what was my favourite TV series that I've ever watched? I don't know, really. I don't know. I always loved Red Dwarf. I mean, some of the series were really poor and the cat jokes went just, you know, his fashion jokes were just very forced. And there were a few seasons that were just shouldn't have been made. But that's always been one of my favourite TV shows is Red Dwarf. Tom Month. Will I ever do another live stream? Yeah, I'm sure I will. I just never really seem to have time to do it and I never really think to do it, if I'm honest, but I should do. And thank you for reminding me. Will you and Imo do any more meetups? Yes, we have talked about it, but it's trying to get a time when neither one of us are very busy and both of us have very busy lives, especially her with her gigging. You know, she never knows quite when a gig's going to roll in. So it probably works best for me to go out to her. And especially now that my work is a bit more sporadic and, yeah, you know, taking bookings and stuff. So we do need to pencil something in. Oh, excuse me. Why is the channel called Worm's Eye View? That is because it started off as a childcare channel. And my blog that I used to write, which doesn't exist anymore because I couldn't justify paying for the website. That was called Worm's Eye View because there's a whole thing about being a bird's eye view, which is how I saw us adults looking down at the world from up above, and the children were lower to the ground. They were smaller and they were seeing things that was new and wonderful to them and taking note in the small fine details of the amazing things like a frozen pond or an insect, or like all these just things that were new and amazing to them that we just stopped seeing. And I thought that was more of like a worm's eye view because it was coming from a lower viewpoint, and so that's why I called it worm's eye view. And what are your long-term ambitions as a YouTuber? I don't really have any long-term ambitions. I don't for one moment imagine my channel is ever going to get big. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to get that viral overnight sudden whoosh and everything's going to go loopy and what have you. And I don't actually know if I'd like that either. If that happened, might find that just a little bit. I've had it where the odd video's gone a bit viral, and every time I've clicked, like another 100 views has popped up in the space of a minute, and then all these comments have flooded in, and I found that a little bit overwhelming in the past. I felt like taking the video down, but stuck with it. And I wonder if maybe I would feel the same way if the channel suddenly blew up overnight, because then you get trolled and you get a lot more negativity coming your way. So I'm not sure that's something I aspire to. More of the same, but keep trying to find some fresh stuff for you all so you don't get bored. Diane Collins 9966. How is your Reiki training going? I'm actually qualified to level 2 now, so I'm absolutely able to go and do it, but I just feel I need more practice, and I haven't done anything about doing any practice. So it's ready to go, and it's ready for me to use, but I just need to feel more confident. Excuse me. And how do my pagan ways influence my life? So when I say I'm pagan, I'm not like Wicca or anything like that, where you follow a religion. My pagan is very unreligious. It's really just a belief in nature and connection with the earth. I don't really go with the deities. A lot of people go with like goddess, the goddesses for the seasons and those sorts of things. I don't really follow much into that. I'm much more about just trying to live on this earth, not trample it down too much, not leave too many footprints. Just, don't buy a load of unnecessary things that end up in landfill, or don't consume more than you require. And yeah, just generally try and leave this earth having done good and not so much of the bad, as much as one can do. And just a general respect for nature and the seasons, and being connected to the earth and being connected to the seasons and the cycles, which is the old way of being. But we've become very disconnected as time has gone by. And I don't think it does us any good to become disconnected from what is bigger than us, really. So yeah, that's kind of my pagan views, really. And then Kathy, when and how did I meet Emma? So I kind of knew of Rob because he was milling around. He was quite notorious within the village when I moved here. And then she started dating him when she left Sky's dad. She met Rob and she started dating him when I think Sky was a toddler. And so it wasn't long after that. It was probably more along the lines of when Harry came. Because again, I knew of Emma through mutual friends, but didn't know her, and I knew her to talk to in the street because she was a lady that always walked dogs, and she was always running with a dog usually attached to her, and I'd wave to her. And I was the childminder in the village, so she knew me through that. And then I started looking after Harry, so my sister-in-law and I both kind of took in turns to look after Harry. And then occasionally we'd have Harry and Sky. And then when she was pregnant with Ozzy, she said she was pregnant and that she wanted to book him in for when he was about a year old. So got right in there quickly with the space. And then, yeah, I started looking after Ozzy. So we've known each other on and off for a long time, but really well since Ozzy was born, really. So yeah, there you go. Thank you very much for all your questions. And I still have pages and pages and pages left to go. So this was a slightly longer one this time. I will see you in the next video. And yeah, definitely we'll do another Q&A, probably another 2 or 3 over the next coming month.